And we back again. This time is my review on Carnival Firenze. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna start off with is the ship itself, which the ship is gorgeous. Can't deny that at all. The only thing that it was missing was the funnel that I'm used to seeing on other Carnival ships, which it wasn't a big deal, but you know, so used to walking on the Lido deck and everything and seeing the funnel, and it's just a little bit different. So nothing major there. But it also is the same size as the Vista class ships. So the Vista, Panorama, Horizon, and Venezia is all the same sizes. So not too much different there if you have been on one of those ships before. So next we're gonna get into Embarkation. Now, Embarkation didn't take long at all, especially when we first got into the terminal. We went in the terminal and it took about maybe 10-15 minutes to get checked in. Once we did that, we went and sat down. Now that took about 30 minutes because they hadn't called nobody yet, nobody in the suites or anything to board the ship yet, and we were in group A4. So once they called our group, it took us from there um, maybe about another 10 minutes to board the ship. So that went really smooth. So my first impressions when we first walked onto the ship, it felt really upscale to me. It felt like, um, let's say that room in your parents' house that they always told you don't go into or don't play in that room. That's what it kind of felt like when you first walked in there. Like, we are not supposed to have fun on this ship, but we're about to have some fun on this ship. And I really, really appreciate it. It was different than what some of the other carnival ships offer. Most of them now have that like LED screen or something that's right above the atrium bar, but on Firenze, it just feels like it's a big piece of art that's standing right there. So that was really, really nice. All right, so now we're gonna talk about the food. So that's what a lot of people want to know about. How's the food on the ship? And overall, I would say the food was pretty good. I didn't really have a problem with much of nothing on the ship that I can recall. Um, but everything was pretty much good. So they do have new places um, on this ship that they don't have on others. Like you have Tomodoro, which is like the Mexi Italian spot on the ship. So it has the same menu as the Blue Iguana. It just have a few more options to it. All right, then you have El Mercado, which is your cold and hot sandwich shop, along with your meatballs. Then you have your Chicken Shack, which is not the same thing as Big Chicken on like the XL class ships. But this one, it have chicken tenders, fries, chicken sandwiches, and stuff like that, which was pretty good. I didn't have no problem with it at all. Okay, so then you have La Strada, which is Italian street food. Um, and I always noticed that there wasn't really long lines over there, and I think it's because of the location of it. Not too many people knew where it was, but I got a couple of things from over there, and it was really good. Then you have El Viago, which is the Italian restaurant. It does cost extra. It's a specialty restaurant. Um, I was gonna try it, but I'm like, I know my kids not gonna want anything from it after I looked at the menu. So I was just like, I'll just try it another time. And then you have the empanada and pie spot. This is also an extra cost. But the empanadas were pretty good though. The only thing was it wasn't open very long, and it was in the ducktail spot on the fifth floor. So you kind of had to wander around there and find it to actually see where the spot was. All right, then of course you have you guys. For me, that's the first place I go once I first get on the ship. Now the difference with this guys was it had two new burgers. So it had the pepperoni pizza burger and it had the super melty mousse. The downfall was they didn't have no pig patties, and my son was quite upset about that. And they didn't have the pig patties, so But other than that, I mean, it was guys. You have Pizzeria del Capitano that had, your normal pizza and stuff like that. What I would say about that, because this is an Italian strip, I would have thought they would have had some type of specialty Italian pizza, but they really didn't. It just was just the regular pizza menu that they have. All right, then we have Fresh Creations, which is on a Serenity deck. Um, as always, if you want a good salad, you can get it from there. Um, I don't think it's open on port days. I think it's only open on sea days. Okay, then you have your other specialty restaurants, which is your 555 Steakhouse, the Seafood Shack, Banzai Sushi, and Teppanyaki, which is all of this extra charges. Like I said, it's a specialty restaurant. All right, so you had a Lido Marketplace, which we didn't do the Lido Marketplace too much. We had it once for breakfast. Other than that, we didn't go there. We pretty much was in a Medici, which was our assigned main dining room, and then you also have the Michelangelo restaurant, which is another main dining room as well. The food there was pretty good. Um, there seemed to be a Italian dish every day too, which was different. With it being an Italian ship, I would expect that. Um, but as far as everything else, you had pretty much the same things. The only difference that I didn't see was they didn't have a night with the lobster. It's the only thing I didn't see on this ship. All right, now we're gonna start with the bars. So the first one we have is the Atrium Bar, which is the one as soon as you walk on the ship. For some reason, I never get a drink from that bar. Um, but that's where our bar crawl started from. And I still didn't get a drink from them because I had a drink when I first walked up there to the bar crawl. So I didn't need to get one. Okay, and then you have the Bar Rosa, which is in a theater. And if I say the name of it, I know I'm going to butcher it, so I'm not going to even try to say it. But this is where the playlist production shows are held, along with questions with the cruise director and stuff like that. Um, what else you have? You have the Heroes Tribute Bar that is located on 4. This was our second stop of our bar crawl. That's what it was. All right, then you have the Limelight Lounge that has the makeshift bar in there. And I'll touch on that later. Then you have the Piano Bar. I went there just to look around. I didn't never got anything from there. Then you have the Amari Bar, which is my favorite because it's the same thing as the Alchemy Bar. So as long as they have one of those on the ship, I am good. Get my cucumber sunrise. But let's see. Then you had a Frizzante Bar. That one I didn't get a drink from there because most of the drinks there are like a fizzy type of drink. And I don't care for those too much. You have the Tuscan Bar. There's nothing really special about that one. Then you have the Motor Bar, which is located in the back on the 5th floor, I believe it is. But I had a drink from over there, and it was some kind of purple drink, but it tasted like Robitussin, so I didn't really care for it. I drank it, but I didn't care for it too much. All right, and this bar, the Rococo Bar, is the one that I went to the most. This one had frozen drinks over there, and when it's hot, you always want something to cool you off. But that's what I usually stuck to. And I was getting a blue margarita at first, but then I started getting a blue margarita and a strawberry mix. And every time I go sit by the pool, I had a bunch of people come ask me where I was getting that from. And I was like right there at the Rococo Bar. So that was pretty good. Then let's see, you have the Java Blue, which is right across from the Rococo Bar. And this is where you get your specialty coffees and teas and stuff like that from. But they also have spiked coffee, spiked tea, they have milkshakes, root beer floats, there's gelato over there, there's chocolate covered strawberries, some muffins and stuff like that. And my son lived over there and got to know the lady that worked there really, really good. All right, so now we're gonna get into the entertainment and activities. So from sail away, I mean it. I'm gonna say Joy and the Fun Squad. They kept the party going with different activities or game shows, anything like that, going pretty much every day. So had no issues there. Then you had the Playlist Productions, which you had Color My World. You had Dear Future Husband, which I saw Dear Future Husband on Jubilee. The only thing about Dear Future Husband on Firenze was the after party. When they had the after party, it was kind of small. It wasn't nearly as big as it was on Jubilee, which, that space on Jubilee um, is pretty big right there. So I did appreciate it more on Jubilee than I did on Firenze. Um, and in your typical Carnival fashion, you always have your trivia, or you have some type of competitive game that they have for you to play. So, you're never bored with that. I've seen some kids out there playing. It was a different name, but it basically was Jenga, but it was like life size. So it was pretty big, and it had some other musical games and stuff like that. So it was a lot of stuff to do. Then you have your silent disco party. And for those who don't know what the silent disco party is, it's just basically it's two DJs and you have on headphones and you can switch back and forth between the two DJs that's playing two different types of music. And you just basically having a party. That's all that really is. That was, fun. Then you have your 80s rock and glow party. For this one, I wasn't there because I was asleep. I don't know what happened. I just was knocked out. But my wife went, and she said it was pretty much like any other 80s rock and glow. Okay, and then there was a captain's toast where the captain had on a mask and Joy and some of the other people were on the ship. There also was a mask making class earlier that day. Now, the thing I didn't like about the mask making class was they put it on a port day. I think it should have been on a sea day instead of a port day or some other time other than the day where usually people going out to a port to do different activities. And I think it was like 9 o'clock in the morning where they had it. So pretty much everybody trying to eat breakfast and then get off the ship to go to their excursions or whatever they're trying to do in port, which for us was Ensenada. So I really think they should have put that maybe on a different day. All right, so now let's get into the staff. The staff was great for me. I didn't have no issue with none of the staff at all. I seen other people post and say that the staff was slow or stuff like that, which is kind of be expected, on a newer ship. So I wasn't expecting it to be flawless. Which for me, like I said, it wasn't bad at all. We had some times where maybe the drinks in the main dining room took a little long, but it was nothing. I'm gonna say maybe like 10-15 minutes. It wasn't really that bad. But our stateroom attendant, he was great. He learned all our names like the first day. So every time we saw him, he would always call us by our name, which I don't know how they do it, how they remember all the people's names, but they do it, and he was awesome. And like I said, the person that was in a Java Blue bar, I mean in Java Blue, I said the Blue bar, but Java Blue, her name begins with the M. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but out of everybody, she was the one. She really took care of us for our cruise, so she did it for us. And also shout out to, I forgot our second one, but Putu in the main dining room in the Medici restaurant. He took care of us as well. And he sat there and talked to us about being back home and if we was to ever visit, things to do while we were there and stuff like that. So he took, really, really good care of us. in a Medici restaurant. But like I said, I forgot the other server name. Um, but he took really good care of us as well. Okay, then we're gonna talk about debarkation. So debarkation, before you debark, let's say like a couple of days before, you could go on the app and set up a time that you want to get off the ship. I forgot the beginning time, but our time was somewhere like about 10 o'clock or something like that, because I knew our flight wasn't until 2:30. That's why I set it for 10 o'clock. That way we'll have enough time and we wouldn't have to be sitting in the airport all that time. Um, but this is something that Carnival released not too long ago. When we were on a Jubilee in March, um, they had that option as well, and it seemed to make debarking the ship a lot faster than what it used to be. Now, the other thing that I noticed, and this was a first for me with debarking the ship, the passport line was longer than the line for birth certificates. And my wife and I, we have our passports, but our kids don't. So we had to go through the birth certificate line. And we passed up a lot of people in that passport line going to the birth certificate line. And I was like, that's really odd. It usually be the other way around. So I don't know if that's how it always be in Long Beach, but if we was in that passport line, we'd have been in that line for, a little minute. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about some things that I didn't like. So the roof of the Lido deck, it opens. But while we were on a cruise, that roof didn't open at all. So there had somebody that was in our Facebook group that said it had opened just a little bit while we were in Cabo because they stayed on the ship. But we had an excursion. But they said that it was open just a little bit there. But other than that, it was closed the whole time. Now, when we were in Cabo, it was pretty hot. Let me say that. Now, some of the other days, it was cold. So I could see why they would have it closed. Because on other sailings, I see where people was complaining about it being cold. So that brings me to the next thing that I didn't like was that it was cold. So I looked at the temperature prior to um, flying to Long Beach, and I saw that it was supposed to be in the high 60s, low 70s. So I was like, I told everybody bring your jackets because it's gonna be cool. So some days it was fine. As long as the sun out, it was fine. But if you got into a space where they had a shadow, or if you was on that top deck, it was like really, really cold. And it was windy as well, which I didn't expect coming to Long Beach. I'm thinking it's going to be warm, hot or something like that. But it was a lot cooler than what I thought, especially being in May. But the other thing that I didn't like was that rolling bar in the Limelight Lounge. Now, I would have thought that since they were transforming some spaces on this ship to cater to, Carnival versus Costa, I would have thought while they were doing that, they would have added some type of bar that was in place instead of having something that they roll in every night. And I really didn't like that too much. And then where the bar was, the line was right in front the back row of seats. So when you were waiting for your drink, it's like you were standing in front of people that was sitting down right there by the bar or in the back of the Limelight Lounge back there. So that one, I didn't understand that, but I guess they have some reasoning behind it. And the last thing that I kind of didn't like, now being that this was an Italian ship, I would have thought they would have had some type of like pasta making class, like on Jubilee. there was a pasta making class, there was an ice cream making class. You can learn how to bake different things and stuff like that. But on Firenze, and with it being an Italian ship, I would have really thought they would have had some type of pasta making class, but they didn't. Which is not really a big deal, but I could see Carnival making money off of something like that. Um, but other than that, that was pretty much all the stuff that you know I kind of like. Which I'm not a hard person to please, but that's just some things. Okay, so would I sail again on that ship? Yeah, I would. Because like I said, the ship is absolutely beautiful. Um, Nothing on that ship would make me not want to sail on it again. The only thing that I would do now, if I did sail on it again, I would go when it's warmer um, than what it was. Other than that, I had a really great time on the ship, and I definitely could see myself sailing on it again. Now, if you had any questions or anything about the ship, or feel like I left anything out that you had questions about, just leave it in the comment and I'll respond to it. And until next time, peace.